last mile in the Fed's inflation fight.
Shows U.S. inflation is prices continue just to skyrocket.
7.44%, 6.6%, around 9-odd%.
There's been another rise in inflation, prompting some concerns.
Well, unexpected high retail inflation numbers coming as a shock.
Since the past year or so, you have heard a lot about the rising inflation throughout the world. Your newspapers, TV channels, online articles, and even Instagram has been non-stop about inflation. But what is inflation? And how does all of this affect you? Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video, we will go over one of the most basic and important subjects of economics, inflation. So, what is inflation? By definition, inflation is nothing but the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services increases. In simpler terms, your money buys you less than what it did in the past. But why does this happen? Prices increase because of three fundamental reasons: rise in production costs, increase in demand, and change in fiscal policy. But if you're anything like me, those words don't really mean much. So let's try and understand this with an example. Now let's say that there is a small town, and in this town there is a marketplace where the people who live in this town buy all of their stuff, their food, clothes, toys, etc. One day, the government comes along and says that they are going to slash the interest rates in this town from 6% all the way to 1% because they are scared for the economy of this town. This makes borrowing much cheaper, almost free. Now naturally, people from this town would take out loans. Why? Because the loans are cheap. This is essentially free money. Yes, they have to pay back the principal amount. However, there is nearly no interest being charged on that amount. So more number of people would take that risk by setting up new businesses, taking home loans, student loans, and even personal loans. Now, on top of that, let's assume that the government decides to print more money and flood the market with cash, liquidity, just like they did during the COVID crisis. All this free money from either getting printed or by lending at very low interest rates would increase spending in the general public of this town. Residents of this town now start going to their market and make more purchases. That iPhone that you wish you had, or that car that you always wanted. Can I have my entire bucket list, please? Now that there is a surplus of money in the market, all these expenses by the residents are justified. After all, the government just handed it to them. And the business owners love this new demand created in this market. They are all getting more sales than they did ever before. But they are going to run out of products to sell very soon because the residents have all this extra money. So inevitably, the business owner, let's call him Mr. Riches, who is unable to keep up with all this new demand, has to raise prices. And that is inflation. So, when there is surplus money in the economy that makes people spend their money faster than businesses can make those items or provide those services, then all these businesses raise their prices. And that is inflation. But if people have more money to spend and they're spending it, and it's helping businesses grow, then why are we hearing about inflation with such a negative tone from mainstream media? Why is inflation such a bad thing? Or is it? Inflation is actually a natural part of an economy. It is actually a good thing when maintained within certain limits. It is one of those things where you can say too much of something is bad. Remember Mr. Riches from before? Let's say that Mr. Riches owns a business that manufactures and sells tennis rackets. because the demand for the rackets increased, he had no option but to raise the prices of these rackets. Looking at increase in demand and the interest prices at such low rates, Mr. Riches decides to take a loan and open another manufacturing facility to keep up with this demand. He hires more people, manufactures more rackets, and is able to sell them while the demand is still there in the market. But the problem is, the free money given by the government eventually runs out. And when that happens, people are no longer lining up to buy these rackets from Mr. Riches, and the demand falls quickly. Mr. Riches, who has now set up a new manufacturing unit, has to shut down his factory and lay off his workers. He is also forced to reduce his prices slowly and sell his inventory. And that is a recession. So if inflation leads to such problems, then why do governments want inflation? Why not just keep inflation at zero? Well, as it turns out, when the prices of goods or services are expected to stay the same, humans have a tendency to delay their purchases. And when you scale this to the population of a nation, this causes an economic downturn. Sales of a business reduces, causing them to reduce their workforce. These people then buy lesser things, which would cause a downward spiral in the economy. In fact, economists do not advocate for a 0% inflation, because that eventually leads to deflation, and that is very bad for a nation's economy. Deflation is when prices of a product reduce over time, basically negative inflation. Imagine if you knew that the price of a product that you want is going to decrease over time. You would definitely delay your purchase till you absolutely needed that product, and that can destroy a nation's economy. And this happened in Japan. This is a chart of the Japanese index, Nikkei. The index made a high of nearly 39,000 in 1989, after which the index collapsed, and this was caused because of a deflationary economy. Today, after 34 years, currently trading at nearly 33,500, the Japanese index has still not made a recovery to its previous all-time high. So inflation is a balancing act for the government and the nation's central bank. In India, we call it the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI. In the US, it's the Federal Bank, or the Fed. They come together and make strategies that can help boost a country's economy. What tools do they have up their sleeve, and how do they use them to maintain inflation in a certain range? Well, that's a topic for another explainer. That brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed this episode and thought that you got something to learn from this, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more such videos. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.